Mastering the field of storytelling is so important, particularly when you're pitching your business or even meeting or inviting someone to go along the journey with you. Because people like a good story. They like to hear the why. Like, why are you doing this? What made you? And I have a thing about even business names. Like, why did you name your business that? I want to know why. And it's good to hear people tell those stories to me.
This is the Angel Next Door podcast, where we will talk about all things angel investing, what it is, who does it, how do we find them, what does it mean to invest in an early stage company. If you have ever wondered how you can affect the change you want to see in the world, then tune in to learn more. In this episode, I'm talking to Dr. Shakenna Williams, Executive Director for the Frank and Eileen Center for Women's Entrepreneurial Leadership at Babson College. She shares the fascinating story of how Babson Center evolved over 25 years to champion inclusive entrepreneurship, foster accelerator programs, and lead groundbreaking global research on women entrepreneurial leaders. Dr. Williams shares exclusive insights into her upcoming international conference in New Zealand, unpacks the real story behind the statistics on women's startup funding, and reveals powerful advice for mentors and founders, including a sneak peek at her upcoming book on mentorship. Enjoy the show. Dr. Williams, thank you so much for being on the Angel Next Door podcast. It's so great to see you again. After a couple months, you were our keynote speaker at the ACA Women's Investor Forum last year, and we were so excited to hear all the things that are going on at the Babson Entrepreneurial Center. So tell us a little bit about your background and what's new and exciting.
Yes, thank you for having me. I've been waiting for this day to happen for a while now. Dr. Shakenna Williams, as you mentioned, I am the Executive Director of the Frank and Eileen Center for Women's Entrepreneurial Leadership at Babson College. The center is 25 years old. We're celebrating our anniversary this year. When we think about the 25 years that have passed of the evolution around women entrepreneurial leadership. And what am I currently working on now? The center has 4 pillars. So we work with all of our women identifying students and allies, so pretty much all of our Babson students. Second, we have a accelerator arm, which we work with entrepreneurs, both our college students and then also women and men in our ecosystem, helping them grow and scale their business. And then we have the honor of being the home of the Diana International Research Institute, where it's a global research initiative that we work with scholars and researchers all over the world. And every year we host our annual conference in a different country. And this year we're going to be in New Zealand. So I'm looking forward to that. Yes. And then fourth, we call it our ecosystem development, where that's the pillar we get to do anything that doesn't relate, but we want to tap in and help other organizations and individuals really lean in to help women entrepreneurial leaders in their community. And that spans from helping them build out their curriculum, helping them host conferences or events, or helping them with thought leadership. We are there. And as Babson has been rated #1 in entrepreneurship for the last 30 plus years, and most recently last year, been rated #2 best college in the country. So we are so excited, and we're still wearing our #2 t-shirts of all that great honor. And that comes with all of our combined efforts and work around teaching, research, and also applying that in a practical way to help entrepreneurs.
Amazing. So tell us a little bit about where did the center start 25 years ago? And look at how far it's come. You have all these different pillars. And was that the vision all along, or has it just become this amazing thing beyond what anybody really dreamed?
Yeah. So preparing for our 25th anniversary, did a nice timeline of the center and even also my career. So it was been interesting to see all the different boxes on the career path. But with the center, it started as our founding director, Dr. Nan Langowitz, who just retired from Babson faculty. Her and a team of staff people and also faculty members came together because they realized that at that time, 25 years ago, that our women identifying students were not participating in co-curricular activities. They were in the classroom. However, they weren't being involved in outside classwork as far as helping them advance their business and also strengthening their leadership. From that time, we've added on and been home for the research, the Diana International Research Institute, but also added in the accelerator program. But also with our student program, we have a robust mentorship program where we match one-on-one students, both our undergrad and grad. We have 3 mentorship programs. One is called the Near Peer, where we have an undergrad matched up with either a senior or someone that's most recently graduated from Babson. And then we have the other 2 is matching up students with corporate executives. And we have volunteers from our alumni base to friends of the college. But over those 25 years, we've definitely seen the conversation has definitely shifted. And many times you think about why a women's center, And we were our first of its kind at a 4-year institute. Also having a research component, it definitely strengthens what we do because we base everything based on research. But working with both male and female, we're developing this inclusive kind of mindset of that we all have to work together and what does that look like. And it's really important for us as we're dealing with our students to really foster like in the real world how things are going to be. So we've definitely seen the need of working with our women identifying students to now having that inclusive entrepreneurship mindset for those that we're working with day to day.
Nice. And this it's not just women identifying students. You have allies too. You work with a lot of different people who are really passionate about the entrepreneurial space, right?
Exactly. So we both participating in our program and also being as mentors or facilitators. We're looking for those that are passionate about looking at not only the lens of women entrepreneurship, but more of the inclusive, like how do we bring everyone to the table? So we definitely have a strong volunteer base, but also underneath the center, we have a group of advisors that span globally. So we have our advisory board members all the way in Hong Kong and India. So shout outs to them. That is a philanthropic board. However, they lend us their expertise and help us with strategy, fundraising, and also with special initiative. And again, the board, I would say, is about 50% even with gender. I'm really fortunate to have those group of individuals to be with us as extended team members.
That's great. So tell us a little bit more about the research. Where do you collect the data from, and then how do you get it out into the world?
Yeah. So great. So part of our research, we are the co-authors of the GEM Women's Report, and GEM stands for the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor Report. And we work again with scholars. So we are like the only kind of focused organization that is working with people that are specifically writing about women's entrepreneurial leadership. And again, it's men and women. But how do we get this out? We get this out through those channels, through their network. We also have quarterly roundtable discussion. If you are a member of the organization, we also have a depository where you'll have a list of the current research that is available around women entrepreneurial leadership, but also through the conference as well. For those that are working on the early part of their papers, they're able to work with their peers to get immediate feedback to really close the gap when it comes down to women entrepreneurial research. But we definitely leverage all of the top tier publications as well. So we're really encouraging and supporting those that are writing around women's entrepreneurial leadership to continue doing so, and also providing them technical assistance. So they're working with our top researchers here at Babson.
Wow. And so tell us a little bit about what's going to happen in New Zealand this year and when is it?
Yeah. So New Zealand this year, the theme is on the edge because, of course, being in New Zealand. And during the conference, we start off with the research portion. So those that submit their papers and get accepted get to go to the first part of the conference, which is the research part. So they're able to get feedback from their peers and also the top researchers on what they're writing about. This year, for the first time, we're doing a doctoral symposium for those that have just recently graduated with their doctorate or are still in the ending part to meet with other researchers, because that's really important that we grab people early. We realize that. So they'll be part of that research component. And then the next day, we conclude the research conference with something called Impact Day. So where we take the researchers, scholars, investors, practitioners, we bring them all in a room, and we're going to talk about on the edge. What does that mean when it comes down to research? And how do we apply it based on our field? So it's a great conversation, panel discussions, keynote speakers, but we walk away with the tools of how do we leverage research in our day-to-day. And it's going to be taking place again in New Zealand on July 1st through the 5th. All that information is on our website. So if you Google Research Women Conference, Babson College, it should come up. Acronyms for the Diana International Research Institute is DIRI, as we call it. It's DIR.
That we will make sure to put all that in the show notes too, so that people can find it. That is really exciting. It sounds like a fascinating conference just to watch what was going on and to see the research that people are working on, and then to have it reviewed by their peers, like in real time. That sounds so cool.
Yes, and the Research Institute has been around for a long time, and the pioneers behind the women's entrepreneurial leadership are still involved. So you're going to this small, intimate conference with the pioneers of research, and that doesn't happen all the time in research, but they're there, they're present and able to talk and work with and mentor the next generation of scholars.
Yeah, I love it. So one of the things that we've talked about related to research on the podcast before are the statistics around how little funding goes to women and people of color who are doing some incredibly innovative and amazing entrepreneurial things. So what are some of the things that you're seeing students do to maybe help them get past some of the hurdles that we know are out there? I know a lot of us are out there trying to bring more awareness to this, try to get more funding to these incredible founders. But do you see that these people who are doing these projects and creating these companies are they're so innovative? So I would imagine when it comes to getting funding, they're being pretty innovative nowadays too.
Yeah, it's in the air. Innovation is in the air at Babson. And one of the things that we're doing to change the narrative of how we look at the stats in reality is that, yes, less than 2% of funding from VC goes to women-owned businesses, right? But when we're looking at the data, are women-owned businesses creating the businesses that VCs want to back? So we have to be careful how we're interpreting the data, because we know historically that women overall are creating businesses to maybe make ends meet or a lifestyle business. So we have to be careful how we're not always beating up on the VCs and the angel investors.
Yes.
What kind of businesses are really truly out there for women entrepreneurs? But what we are seeing late in the data is the high increase of women definitely creating these high impact businesses that are in position for VC funding. And then also in the research, what we're seeing is we're looking at just the United States, but there's other countries that are far ahead as far as supporting women entrepreneurs in the VC space. And that's why it's important to go back to the research of what that is. And I can share that with you later because I don't have it on the top of my head, but there is a high increase that we're seeing in women entrepreneurs being VC ready, but also looking at other countries where women businesses are being supported much more than the United States. And I can supply that information to you.
Oh, yeah, we love that. We definitely put that out to the listeners. I'm so glad you brought that up, too, because I know there's an article that came out in Fast Company by Loretta McCarthy and Joanne Corcoran from Golden Seeds, where they're talking about this exact topic, where just because people keep saying 2%, it's not like apples and apples that we're comparing, because there's a lot that goes into that number that isn't really accurate. And I love how you're framing it with, we have to make sure that we have the right narrative. And then with angels, we're also seeing that more female angels have come on the scene, which also helps, at least at the angel level, get those statistics to be higher. I know the Angel Capital Association has put out their most recent report where that number is really as high as 25, even 35% of the funding is going to female founders. We have to make sure that we're talking about the data in the right way. So I absolutely love that you have been doing that. And this is a great way for people to be able to level the playing field.
Exactly. And also those that are listening that develop or run accelerator programs, it's really great to embed in the coaching when you're talking to the participant about multiple streams of revenue, of how to generate more revenue. We know tech is a huge thing. So we need to embrace it, particularly AI. So how can we leverage AI and other technology to create revenue for our businesses? So this is another way to move the needle as far as people receiving funding, because everybody wants to invest in a nice tech company, right? So how do we do that based on what our passion, our why is, and leveraging those opportunities? So I know me personally, I'm embedding that conversation in my coaching. And then also with our teaching as well, it's like, how could you leverage tech? How could you think about your business differently that investors are attracted to it? That's definitely a critical topic to bring up to existing entrepreneurs and those that are coming up with their business idea.
Yeah. I was just at the Angel Capital Association Summit recently, and we were having a discussion about accelerators and how important they are, but also the mentorship component is so critical. And sometimes that can be good for entrepreneurs and sometimes not so good. I know sometimes I'll caution entrepreneurs not to take drive-by advice. Don't just have some mentor come along and tell you something about your company, and then you're like, wow, freaked out about it when they might not even know that much about your industry. So tell us a little bit more about at the center, like the accelerator program that you run, and then a little more about what you're really looking for in mentors and what can we help angels today learn so they'll be better mentors?
That's a great question. So I look at mentorship overall as a two-way street. And you give me a segue. I'm coming up with a book about mentorship.
That's awesome.
It's a two-way street, right? So if you're looking at mentoring, say a student or professional, is looking at it like, what can you pour in? So a mentor's role is to pour in and help them navigate and alleviate any kind of pain point that they might have went through. But there's a difference when you're mentoring a business, because it's different when they're in a program, say 6 weeks, 12 weeks, 6 months. For me, I tell mentors when they're mentoring a business in particular to be all in. First, start with understanding the entrepreneur, right? Before you even talk about their business, understand like, why did they even start their business? If there's even a cultural component, you need to understand like that person before you jump into their kind of child, their project, their business, their livelihood, right? And then from there, being on that journey with them. So setting up intentional conversations of really understanding, bringing them through the different, like, why did you pick this customer over this customer? And being willing to open up your Rolodex for them as well. I really feel like a mentor should be able to really jumpstart and push that entrepreneur, that individual up. But also, I think the really like that sweet spot for me is really understanding that person, because that's how you learn how to give them feedback. Some people don't take feedback well. Is it verbally? Sometimes people read the tone. There's no tone in email, but there's tones, right? People have in their head. Like, how does that person communicate, right? We talk about love language in relationships, but this is a relationship you're getting in with this person. So really get to know what brings them joy, what's going to push them to do better. And then also I tell the mentee, be prepared and be ready. Don't waste that person's time. So really structure your meeting times with them with an agenda, right? If they're telling you to follow up, or if they connect you with someone, follow up with them to say, yo, you connect me with this amazing person. This is my next step. And a simple thank you goes a long way. It goes a long way. But also for the entrepreneur, what I do tell them in the whole creating your toolbox, if you will, with people that are going to help you with your business, who else do you need besides that mentor? It's the sponsor. So we have a conversation. That sponsor is going to open the door for you and advocate for you to probably get your first or second deal, right? You need a board of advisors as well. So it's not just that one person giving you their own experience and advice, but you're getting a holistic approach to it. So finding someone that may or may not be in the industry, maybe finding a lawyer, maybe finding even an MBA student, someone that's going to give you a fresh perspective that's really going to help you leverage your brand and also your business. So it's a lot. It's a lot for a mentor, but as you're going through this journey, because it's not going to the finish line so fast, but you need certain people to be part of your team.
Yeah, I completely agree. There's also sometimes I've been asked questions by a mentee or somebody I've been talking to who's trying to grow a business, and I don't have the answer, but I might know the people that have the answer.
Right.
So sometimes I think a mentor is really somebody who can help just navigate, like you said, the challenges that these companies are coming up against.
And if you're not the right person, and even some of us are so passionate about helping other people, don't waste that entrepreneur's time. Make that connection for them, and you can always serve in some other capacity for them in the meanwhile.
All right. So you hinted at another book. Tell us a little more, and then also tell us about the first book.
So the book that I'm currently working on is about mentorship. I'm co-authoring that book with my birthday twin. She lives in Dallas, Texas, Lynn O'Neill. And we really took a step back approach of really understanding where did the whole name of mentorship come from, and really the hidden person behind how mentorship came about. So they got to definitely buy the book when it's out and released. But really talking about from the mentee and mentor perspective, how do you navigate the relationship, as I just mentioned, right? And we're looking at it more like a compass. Like, how do you get to where you want to be, leveraging your mentor? But really from the mentor's perspective, where do you want to be? So there's reasons why people sign up to be mentors, and they need to do some self-reflection on that. And then how do you bring it to a step further? And I can think about so many great testimonials from the mentors that I've worked with that have volunteered with us through this center, that some of them have gone on and leveraged that information of hiring interns from Babson. They've looked at their business even in a different way because they're working through problems together. So really looking at that value that relationship brings. My first book, Hooked, that's right there. I wrote that during COVID. It is definitely a tribute to my dad, who passed away 15 years ago. But I used a correlation of something that we used to do together, and I always looked forward to our fishing trips. So I correlate fishing to how my dad taught me how to be an entrepreneurial leader while fishing, and just using different analogies from that. As we mentioned before, I'm looking at redoing the book with a workbook, because people have been asking me like, okay, I love the book, but now do you have a workbook to help me really start and grow and build out my business idea? And then also on a leadership track, like, how do I become a better leader? And I love teaching people how to expand on their why and their passion. And we all have something in us that we can give to someone. And it's, how do we do that? How do we do that? And I love authentic, intentional conversations and relationships, and like, how do we harness that?
Yeah, I love it. I was lucky enough to get a copy of your book, and I felt like I was sitting in the fishing boat with you and your dad. The conversations that you were having, the way you explain how he gave you these ideas about entrepreneurship through the fishing lessons was really cool.
Yeah, Yeah, there's some funny stories on there. I love the narrative, the storytelling, and I tell entrepreneurs it's mastering the field of storytelling is so important, particularly when you're pitching your business or even meeting or inviting someone to go along the journey with you. Because people like a good story. They like to hear the why. Like, why are you doing this? What made you? And I have a thing about even business names. Like, why did you name your business that? I want to know why. And it's good to hear people tell those stories to me.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
This is great. And we'll definitely look forward to that mentorship book. So where can people find you and reach out and learn more about Babson?
Awesome. So I do have a site. It's drshakenawilliams.com. It brings you right to all of my information. And then also it connects you to Babson as well. Also, I'm on LinkedIn. So those that are listening, please, if you hear this podcast, which you will, please connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know how we've met. And I'd love to spend some time getting to know more about you and your business, of how I can help you, or if you want to volunteer for our many programs that we have here at Babson, because we're one of many centers and institutes at Babson. I'm just so honored again to be the executive director during this time, during this season. And there's so much work for all of us to do. I'm just definitely honored to be in this role and also be on this podcast as well.
Oh, we are very honored to have you. You are doing some incredible work, and I can't wait to see all the things that are going to come out in the future. So thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. To connect with me, visit my website at marciadawood.com. And please subscribe, follow, and leave a review. It helps the podcast get seen by more people. And remember, you can also find the Angel Next Door podcast on YouTube too. And if you're looking to learn more about investing in the changes you want to see in the world, sign up for Ann and Bill Payne's ACA Angel University classes. Go to theangelcapitalassociation.org, all one word, to find out the schedule. And classes are now available on demand. Many classes are offered, everything from angel investing basics, which include fundamentals, risk, due diligence, term sheets, valuations, returns and portfolio strategy, and even a class on group formation. There's even a deeper dive where you can get advanced classes, including capitalization tables, startup boards, and exit strategies. If you're not already a member of the Angel Capital Association, you can become one for a low price that will give you unparalleled access to discounts, free webinars with a huge archive of content, networking opportunities, and much more. We'd love to have you join us. All content for this website is informational and not intended to serve as legal, tax, accounting, or investing advice. While Marcia, that's me, does serve on the SEC Small Business Capital Formation Advisory Committee, my views are my own and not the views of the SEC or my fellow colleagues on the committee. Our speakers and hosts are thoughtfully selected for their educational value, but their opinions are their own and do not necessarily represent the views of the host, me, or the Angel Capital Association, and neither specifically endorse the use of presenters' products or services. Listeners of the podcast should consult their own tax, investing, legal, or accounting advisors before making important financial decisions. All warranties, including accuracy, completeness, and suitability for specific purpose, are disclaimed.